Welcome back. Let us continue with our tale. Chapter 8. Into the Queen's Domain. The sky darkened as the five adventurers approached the edge of Lady Spectra's territory. The compass, which was guiding them all this way, finally stopped glowing and giving off its light. Clouds churned overhead, casting a sickly green light over a wasteland of twisted trees and cracked earth. Rivers of blackened water snaked through the land, bubbling with noxious fumes. It felt as though every part of the landscape had been drained of life. The path ahead twisted in impossible ways, sometimes vanishing only to reappear further along the horizon. The air grew heavy with an unnatural chill, making their skin crawl. Tess clutched her staff tighter, sensing the growing presence of magic. "We're close," she whispered. They crossed a brittle stone bridge that groaned under their weight, leading to the entrance of Spectra's realm. Jagged spires rose like claws in the distance, surrounding the Queen's castle. The walls shimmered strangely, as if reality was fraying at the edges. Ivy scanned the horizon with an uneasy expression. "It feels wrong," she muttered, "like the whole place is alive and watching us." Jace waved his staff, casting a weak protective ward over the group. "It probably is," he admitted grimly. "This place isn't just where she lives. It's her creation. Her magic runs through everything here." They trudged forward, every step feeling like an intrusion into something ancient and dangerous. Ivy's sharp eyes caught movement. A flicker of something in the trees to their right. Before she could raise her bow, a swarm of shadowy creatures burst from the underbrush, snarling and clawing. They looked like wolves made of mist, with glowing red eyes and jagged fangs. Ryder drew his sword in an instant. "Here we go again," he shouted, charging into the fray. Mason twirled his double-bladed staff, meeting the creatures head-on. The wolves swarmed around them, snarling and snapping. The battle was chaotic, each of them fighting for their lives. Ryder swung his sword in wide arcs, cleaving through the misty forms, while Tess channeled bursts of healing energy to keep them steady. Mason's staff spun like a whirlwind, striking down any wolf that came too close. Ivy loosed arrows with precision, each shot glowing with green energy that tore through the creatures. Despite their efforts, the wolves kept coming, their numbers seemingly endless. Jace gritted his teeth and raised his staff, summoning a powerful bolt of blue energy. The blast sent a shockwave through the battlefield, scattering the wolves into vapor. Panting, the group regrouped. "Everyone okay?" Tess asked, scanning their faces. They nodded, though exhaustion was starting to show in their eyes. "They're testing us," Ivy said, wiping sweat from her brow. "She's trying to wear us down before we even get close to her." Jace leaned on his staff, catching his breath. "We can't let her get into our heads. If we start doubting ourselves now, we're finished." The group exchanged determined looks. They knew the worst was still ahead. They pressed on, and soon the land began to shift beneath their feet. Roads twisted into spirals, cliffs appeared where none had been before, and familiar landmarks faded in and out like mirages. It was as if Spectra's magic was pulling the world apart at the seams. "This whole place is a maze," Mason grumbled. "We're not getting through by brute force." Tess closed her eyes and tapped into the magic of her staff, trying to sense a clear path. "We need to follow the flow of magic," she said. "It's leading us toward the heart of the castle." As they moved deeper into the Queen's domain, strange visions began to plague them. Ryder saw images of his family, their faces twisted in pain, begging him to return home. Ivy heard the voice of a lost friend, calling her name from the shadows. Tess saw herself standing alone in a desolate field. Her friends gone, her magic powerless. The illusions were hauntingly real, designed to break their spirits. "It's not real," Tess whispered, clutching her staff. "We have to keep going." They forced themselves to ignore the visions, pushing forward through the ever-changing landscape. The castle loomed closer, a towering structure of jagged stone and shimmering glass. It seemed to pulse with magic, as though alive. Massive iron gates blocked their way, covered in strange symbols that glowed faintly. "Looks like we need a key," Ryder muttered, eyeing the gate. Jace studied the symbols, muttering arcane words under his breath. Slowly, the runes began to shift and align, forming a complex pattern. With a groaning creak, the gate swung open, revealing the courtyard beyond. "No time like the present," Mason said grimly. They stepped into the courtyard, where the ground was littered with broken statues and rusted weapons. The air was thick with tension, and every shadow seemed to shift and breathe. "She knows we're here," Ivy whispered, her bow at the ready. "She's waiting for us." They exchanged uneasy glances, knowing the final confrontation was near. Every trial they had faced so far had been preparing them for this moment, but none of them knew what to expect inside the castle's walls. They crossed the courtyard and entered the castle's main hall, a vast chamber filled with decayed tapestries and crumbling pillars. At the far end of the room stood a towering throne of blackened stone, and seated upon it was Lady Spectra herself. Her form flickered between beauty and horror, her eyes glowing with malice. "Welcome, brave adventurers," she purred, her voice dripping with mockery. "I've been expecting you." The door slammed shut behind them, trapping them inside, and the final battle was about to begin. If you enjoyed so far, please leave a like, share and subscribe to the channel. The Chameleon will drop a new chapter every week. Same time and same place. Goodbye for now, you little critters.